And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. Today we're talking about your work ethic and why you should be doing 80 hours a week, because there are tons of people who are telling me all the time, oh, 80 hours, man, that's just simply too much. Or 80 hours this, 80 hours that, 80 hours, 80 hours, 80 hours. Are you serious, Joseph? Seriously. Okay, let me just get this still here. Boom. All right. So why? So I had a personal trainer came up to me the other day, and he was saying, "Oh, I just found your channel, and it's really good content, but 80 hours, man, that's a bit too much. I think that's not healthy for people if they work that much every single day, throughout the week." And I was like, are you serious? Because that's interesting. And he was like, I think 40 hours a week is also a bit too much, and when you think about your mental health and your physical health, etc., etc. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, well, I'm gonna share this video with him, and hopefully he'll understand what my viewpoint is. He'll probably won't change his mind, but who cares? This is for those of you who want to become rich, and I'm talking financially wealthy, and not just become rich when you're old and gray and you're 70 years old riding in your red Ferrari. I want you to get rich now, okay? In the next few years, literally in the next 3, 4, 5 years. Why not? If you can, and if the opportunities are out there, why wouldn't you want that? It doesn't make any sense to me that people want to put off success and put off being rich and put off the money side of your life. Because if you fix that, you'll have money for the rest of your life. You simply have to set up the foundation. Everything is about setting up your foundation. And most of you guys are feminine by nature because you haven't grown up yet. And because if you're masculine, you would do whatever is necessary to achieve your goals. And one of those things is having a massive work ethic. Literally. So many people are lazy out there these days. You know how Grant Cardone feels about the 4-hour work week? He thinks it's disgusting. Okay? That's how I feel as well, because if you can work 80 hours a week, why wouldn't you? And here are some thoughts around why people wouldn't want, or actually, I'll just talk about the reasons why you should. How about that? Okay. I also have a client of mine. He's like, oh, I'm unemployed. I can't find a job anywhere because there are just no jobs available. I've applied for 300 jobs over the past 2.5 months, and I still haven't gotten a job. And I'm like, how often do you work? Like what? I asked him about a specific day and how long did you spend today applying for work? And he's like, well, I was online for about an hour. And I'm like, 12 hours a day you should be working on getting a job. If you don't have a job, then you should make it your 80-hour work week to get a job. How long do you want to be working for free trying to find a job? Because you're working, but you're not getting paid by anyone. You're not producing value to anyone except for yourself. But why wouldn't you want to invest 80 hours a week as an unemployed to get yourself a job so that you actually can get paid for the effort that you're putting in? Does that make sense? At least temporarily. In the long run, you're trying to build a business where no one will pay you any money, right? Over a long period of time until you become successful in that specific business. So if you learn how to think, I love not getting paid, then learn it as an unemployed working 80 hours a week trying to get a job. Because you won't have to try very long if you do that. That's what's insane about it. You do an 80-hour work week, you'll probably have a job this week. Maybe even today or tomorrow. Do you understand what I mean? Because if you apply for 100 spots, 100 applications a day instead of a month, like what my friend has done, you'll get a job faster. Do you understand the mentality? It's 10x, like Grant Cardone says, but you're actually putting in the effort. So, and the last one, this isn't interesting. I'm just telling you guys the stories of what people are saying. Another one is, he's a potential client. He actually has a wife and a girlfriend. They're basically all three living together. He has 2 kids as well. And he's like, am I an exception to the rule? Do I need to work 80 hours a week and all stuff? So after I heard his story, because I was like, if he has a family, he has kids, he has a wife, it's gonna be difficult to put in the 80-hour work weeks. But once I heard about his situation, everything, I was like, 80 hours a week, man. You gotta do 80 hours a week. And he's like, well, you know, we're kind of financially well off, so I don't really need to work 80 hours a week. And I'm like, so when do you want your $1 million net worth to be? Like, when are you thinking that's gonna be? And he's like, well, at retirement age, you know, like around 60 and a half, what, you know, like what, 65 plus, whatever. And I'm like, how old are you? And he's like 35, and you know, the women are 34 and 33, something like that. And I'm like, why? Why 30 years to get to $1 million when you can do it in less than 5? Why put it off when you can do it now, right? And he hadn't, you know, properly established a business yet, so he still had a full-time job, and his women didn't have enough time with him, etc., etc., etc. There's a long story short, but I'm just explaining to you guys right now that 80 hours a week is it. Simply put. But I'm gonna explain why, of course. Let's see. Do you know why most entrepreneurs fail? Do you know that? Most business owners fails. Most entrepreneurs fail. It's only a few who make it, but you only hear about the make stories, like the ones that actually succeed, the ones that actually made it. You only hear about those guys, but the majority of entrepreneurs and business owners and guys who have put up a company, they fail, and they fail miserably, and sometimes they never get back up. And then they go back to getting a job and staying in that job for the next 20 years because I tried it and it didn't work, or this and that and the other. The reason why most of these guys fail is because of a lack of work ethic. They didn't work in their business. They tried to set up their business, but then it failed, and they're like, they just gave up. Literally, they failed with their work ethic. Number 2, they didn't take care of their time and money well. Very often people say that it's cash flow, a lack of cash flow that caused the business to fail. No, it was a lack of control over the cash flow that caused someone to fail in business. It is all about leadership. If your business sucks, it's because you suck. If your relationship with the woman sucks, it's because you suck. If anything in your life sucks, it's because you suck. You are where you are today because of you, right? So if we know that you are the common denominator for everything that happens in your life, let's change you. Let's work on you. Let's build your character. Let's build your integrity. Let's build your work ethic. Let's build who you are. Let's build your control over time and money. Because if you learn how to gain control over those 2 aspects of life, you'll have time and money freedom for the rest of eternities. It's a simple thing to figure out, because once you figure it out, it's done. You never have to solve that problem ever again in your life. Imagine being at 65 years old, still having a job, and not having time to be with your grandkids. Are you kidding me? You could have fixed that 30 years ago, but no, I can't put in the 80 hours, man. I can't put in the 60 hours, man. 40 hours is almost a bit too much. Do you understand what I'm saying here? Okay, last thing. You simply suck at prioritizing. So, let's divide the week up so that we understand how this thing works. But I want to explain this principle first. There's 2 aspects, time and money. I've just explained this. You have an option. You can either make it so, let's see. If you are living like you are poor voluntarily now, okay, while you're still rich, while you still have, you have money, you have everything, but you're choosing to voluntarily live poor, then you will automatically become rich over time. And I'll explain the principle. Think about those people who are now, they have a job, okay, but they only work 30 to 40 hours a week, so they actually have money, a little bit at least, and then they have time, obviously. Because if they're not working 80-hour work weeks, they have a lot of time on their hands. Imagine unemployed people. They don't have time, they don't have money, but they have a lot of time on their hands. Those people who live luxuriously, and I'm talking luxuriously from the standpoint that they have time and they have some money, that's a luxury which will cause them to be poor for life. If they live like they're rich, even though they're not, they will eventually become poor, especially those that get into debt. You get into debt and live as though you are rich, you will become poor. If you have money and you have time, but you prioritize it in such a way that you live like you're poor for a time so that you can get rich forever. What is my example with that? Well, let's say, for example, you have a job and you're making money. So after taxes, you get your chunk of money into your bank account. And the first thing you do is that you set aside, let's say 50%, 80%, 90% of your money. You set that aside first. Boom, off. It's gone from your bank account. Or you put it somewhere, wherever you're going to put it, or in a different account, or whatever it is that you choose to do. Now you out of sight, out of mind, you don't have that money. It doesn't exist, but it does. Because in the back of your mind, man, I actually have a lot of money, but I'm not touching it. And if I am touching it, it's only to invest because I want to invest and I want to build my future. And if my business requires money in the future, I have that money available. I'm just saying to you guys, if you set aside immediately once you get your paycheck, 50 to 90% of the money, guess what? You will feel as if you are poor. You look at your bank account and I'm like, I've worked this entire month and this is what I make? Are you kidding me? Man, it's like I have to live on $400 or I have to live on $500 for this month. How am I going to survive? And then you're like, okay, I got to figure this thing out. How can you live? How can you survive on $500 a month? Do you understand what I'm saying here? Because it will fuel you. It will drive you towards making more money. The more you set aside, the more poor you feel like you are, but you know you're not poor, but you're gonna go out and make more money. Pay yourself first. Do you understand this money aspect of like, you are literally putting all of it aside so that you don't have that much to live on. And because you don't have that much to live on, your brain is telling you that, oh my gosh, I need to make more money. I need to put in more effort. I need to figure out my business because I hate my life because I'm working all these jobs and I hate the fact that I'm poor. I'm poor. If you do that, you'll get freaking stinking rich. I'm promising you. You'll be like Warren Buffett kind of rich. Seriously. Because you'll put in the effort and you'll have the money. And when you have the time and the money, freedom and leadership because you're doing stuff that other people are not willing to do, you're gonna get the life that no one else has. If you transfer that kind of mindset over to time, you'll understand why I say 80-hour work weeks. Let's divide it up. 168 hours per week. 24/7 is 168 hours. We set aside 56 of those for sleep. And then guys tell me, oh no, I don't need 8 hours of sleep. You need 8 hours of sleep. Okay, if there's something that you prioritize, number one is your sleep. If you don't sleep properly, you're not going to be able to be consistent. You're going to feel depressed over time because this, that, and the other, blah, blah, blah. Well, it was actually because of your lack of sleep. It was actually because of your lack of nutrition. It was actually because you're not practicing semen retention, blah, 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 blah. Over time, you get demotivated, you get depressed, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what's going on with these guys? Oh, yeah, they don't sleep, they don't eat properly, and they don't practice semen retention. Okay, so let's take care of that first, which is sleep. 56 hours of those 168 are gone, which means that you have 112 left. Am I right? Let's see, 56 hours, 112. What do you know? And then I tell you 80 hours a week working. I want you to switch it up. You believe that those 80 hours is your work. No, that's your free time. When you're at work or when you're working on your business, that's your free time. That's the money that is disappearing. Or when I explained about money, I said that 90% of your money or 80% of your money is just out of sight, out of mind. Well, guess what? Those 80 hours are out of sight, out of mind, because that is the expectation, that you will work 80 hours a week. Okay, it's out of sight, out of mind. That's what I do naturally, no matter what, all the time. That's just how life is. No problem. Guess what you have left? Your 32 hours. 32 hours a week, that is what will make you successful or not. And let me explain what I mean by that. It's kind of like you've been given a small allotment of money every month, just like I explained. Now in time, you've been given a small allotment of time every single week. It's 32 hours. That's it. But it's every week though, which means that it's hold up. 64? Yeah, it's 128 hours a month. That's actually quite a lot when you think about it. And if you learn how to use those hours well, that will make the entire change. Because it's not the will to succeed that matters. It's the will to prepare to succeed that matters. You know, people are like, 80 hours, no. And I'm like, if you are prepared, you shall not fear. Meaning, if you spend those 32 hours wisely, your 80 hours is gonna be a freaking piece of cake. Do you understand that? But bro, then you're saying that you're working all of the time, 16 hours a day. No, I'm not saying that. I'm telling you that those 32 hours, if you prepare wisely, in the sense, okay, man, I gotta divide those 32 hours. Those 80 hours, of course, I'm gonna work. That's a given, okay? Just like I'm putting aside however % a month, that's a given. But I gotta figure out how to make the most out of these 32 hours so that I don't screw over my 80 hours. Does that make sense? I gotta prepare in the sense of, I gotta make sure my nutrition is on top. I got, that I eat, at least 3 meals a day and make sure that everything's on top there. I got to make sure that I get in my half an hour or 15 minutes of exercise every day because I need the interval training. I need the boost of energy so that can help me to get through the day of 10 hours or 12 hours of work. I need to make sure that I have some time for my family per week. I only have 32 hours a week, which means I need to be very wise about this. Oh man, to spend more than 3 hours with my family, that would be 10% of my time. Maybe I only need 3 hours of time with my family a week, okay? And I'm talking to you single guys now. For you guys that are married, you're screwed over in many aspects because you have more responsibilities than everyone else, but you can still figure it out, and you can tell, like the guy, for example, who has the 2 women, he can tell them that I want to provide for you luxuriously for life. And I want to help us to become a family that has everything in life that we desire. And I want you to never ever have to work ever again because I'm the one who takes the full responsibility for the financials. He can think like this, and that will put him on track for the 80-hour work week. Spending those 32 hours wisely, perfectly. Because if you put in those 32 hours and you make them right, do you know what's going to happen to your businesses in the future? if you actually apply the things that I teach you on this channel, what I teach you on this video right here, you will become filthy, stinking rich. It's impossible for you not to. That's one of the biggest things. Like, you guys know that I teach about 3 girls in love on this channel. There's basically 1 man, 3 women, right? Oh, wow, that's going to be exciting. Oh, wow, you know, you're going to get to have sex and you're going to get to do this and that and the other, blah, blah. You know, the one thing that I'm more fired up about than anything else when it comes to getting 3 girls in love for myself in the future. The most thing I'm fired up about is to finally be gone. To be gone 80 hours a week. To be away from the family. Not because I don't love them, but because I love to work. I love putting in the effort out there. I love leaving the family in the morning before they wake up. Okay? And then come home in the evening and everyone's excited to see me because they haven't seen me all day, but they've had fun all day because I make sure that they live luxuriously. Do you understand what I mean? That's masculinity. They come, you know, you've been working all day, and failing, but you're failing forward. You're building a business. You're creating a massive network. People are seeing your family that it's actually, wow, it's working because you got 3 girls in love, and wow, amazing. Your kids are so beautiful, so amazing, blah, blah, blah. And you are actually putting in 80 hours a week. Man, I need to put in more effort. I need to be more diligent. Man, he's a good example. Suddenly you're a leader. Suddenly people are beginning to follow you because you're becoming successful faster than them. 10 times faster than them. They're like, how did you do it? And you learned that skill when you were a kid, when you were young, and you learned how to work 80-hour work weeks with no problem. How much time do you have for a girlfriend, okay, with those 32 hours? Not much, okay? She's gonna bitch at you all the time. Wait, you might as well just simply let her go. I don't have time within my 32 hours to have a girlfriend, okay? Your mother, she's like, you need to spend time with us every single day. Are you kidding me? I have a life to create. I have a family to create. It's more important that I let go of the past, which is your parents and your siblings and all of the crap and your uncles and aunts that need your money and need your time and blah, blah. Leave them behind. Neglect them so that you can succeed and then come back and have tons of money, because I promise you, 99% of the time, none of your family members are gonna become successful. It's your responsibility to be an example for everyone else around you so that you all can begin to have abundance in your life. Abundance is simple if you put in the work. The faster you put in the work, the more you learn, the more you fail, and the more you fail and the more you learn, the better it's gonna be, right? Success, whatever success means to you, comes from good judgment. Good judgment comes from experience, right? The more hours you put in, the more experience you get, right? Because you fail, and then you fail some more, and then you succeed a bit, and you're like, oh, wow, I learned something new. Interesting. You know where experience comes from? It comes from bad judgment. But you can choose to put in the bad judgment working instead of, trying to solve all the other things in your life that's difficult. Neglect everything just for a short time frame. And this is what I'm going to end with. You want to go through hell to get to heaven. You want to go through hell to get to heaven. Okay? You want heaven? You want, 30 to 40 to 50 years of bliss? And I'm talking about actually working for the rest of your life, okay? Yeah, sometimes you choose to have vacation here and there. Sometimes you choose to travel with your family. Sometimes you choose to work 60 hours a week instead of 80 because you can. You have the choice and you're wealthy. And then when you actually have time off of work, you can choose to do whatever it is that you desire to do because you've put in the 60 or 70 or 80 hours a week for years serving humanity. That's what entrepreneurship is. And then you actually can take time off and do whatever it is that you want to do with your family, by yourself, who cares? with your best friends, etc., who are also rich, by the way, so you don't even have to pay for them. But you can because you know that they'll pay for you in the future. And then you basically fly around with your jets wherever you want to fly. You've got your cars, you've got your toys, you've got your family. They're all happy, etc. And you teach your boys, your kids, how to become successful. And you don't give them money. You teach them how to get their own. Because you understand that it's crucial for them to get it yourself. You don't want to give them money. This is why third generation, like I read the quick thing, The Millionaire Next Door, and I was like, this is ridiculous. Like second and third generation very often end up poor, even though the first generation was rich. What the heck is up with that? And then I understood that it was because they inherit money. You want to make sure that your kids don't inherit money ever, unless they've proven to you that they're able to get rich all on their own. Once they've proven that they're able to get rich all on their own, here you go. Here's all my money. Do you understand what I mean? That's the correct thinking, because you don't want to screw them over by giving them money too easily and too quickly when they get past puberty. Before puberty, man, massively, luxuriously give your kids as much as you can, but what they want, because during that time when they're kids, what they want the most is you. What they want the most is their mothers. Do you understand what I mean? They don't even want that much stuff if you have a lot of money. But once they're teenagers, they're like starting to look around, oh, what does everyone else has? And I want what everyone else has, and blah, blah, blah. And that's when you stop giving them money. I'm talking about your boys. The girls is different. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you guys. I hope you got tons of information out of this video. Man, 80 hours a week. I love it. It's fantastic. It is awesome. It is amazing. Get going. Get started. It is one of the greatest joys in life when you realize that when you are in the service of your fellow human beings, which is what it is to be an entrepreneur, there's a lot of bad rich people that screw over this, this thing, but 95% of rich people are good people. And they're simply striving to figure out their potential. And that's what I want for you. If you serve humanity, you serve your fellow being, you're only in the service of your God. He wants you to become rich. You got to understand the definition of truth, and God is truth, is work, right? That which works in the long run and in the big scheme of things. And the longer you're capable of working 60 to 70 to 80 hour work weeks and put in massive amounts of effort all of the time and develop momentum and habits of work, you know what's going to happen to you? You're going to live an extremely long time. When men retire, they die, okay? I don't want that to be you. You don't have to die at 65 or 75 or even 85. You can be 120, and you'll actually do that if you get the habit of working. But, okay, last thing, okay, last thing. You recognize that this is only for a short time frame, that you're going to work 80 hours or 60 or 70 hours for someone else. Okay? Recognize that. That should only be max. If you actually implement the things that I teach on this channel, or if you are a client of mine, okay, a coaching client of mine, it is insane, absolutely ridiculous for you to work for someone else for more than 18 months to 2.5 years. You will have replaced yourself in your business on the side if you are a coaching client of mine, which means that you will be able to quit your job within the next 2.5 years if you're a client of mine. That's like, it doesn't, obviously there's no promises because it depends on you and your work ethic and you actually applying the principles that I teach. But if you apply what I tell you to do, it is impossible for you to not have quit your job and now be full-time in your business, working 80 hours on your business and becoming exponentially rich within 2.5 years. How old are you? Are you 18? Wouldn't it be nice to be rich at 20 and a half? Okay? and you still think that college is a good idea. Oh my gosh, right? If you put in the work, heaven is gonna come faster than you can say men of high value. Okay? It's gonna be absolutely amazing. And you don't have to do this forever. The 80 hours, I recommend, maybe 70 to 80, maybe sometimes 60. You might develop a habit of 60 hours a week once you got 3 girls in love, once you've got the millions, once you've got everything in place. Maybe you work 60 hours a week and you're happy with that, but you're putting in 60 hours a week. You're not just laying around on the beach being a little bitch, right? Do you understand? Like, there's a difference. But once you've cleared having a boss, oh man, it's only for a short time frame that you work for someone else, because it's those 32 hours that I mentioned in the beginning of this video that causes you to be able to get rid of those jobs if you use them wisely. Okay? Because you're spending time on your business as well, right? And once you've put in the time in your business, you get rid of your bosses, you'll never have a boss for the rest of your life, and you can choose with your now established work ethic, with your now, your amazing prioritization skills, with your ability to control time and money in your life, or control, or in other words, prioritize that which is most important. Now, it's fun because you actually do the things that you want to do when you want to do it, but you've also fixed your emotions. You've learned how to do things even though you don't feel like doing it. And that's what we're trying to get out of your system in the next 2.5 years, so that you can get rid of your femininity. Because you've gone through those 2.5 years working. I hate this job, I hate these jobs, and making sure that you never, ever want to have a boss or a regular menial job ever again. It's not going to happen. Because in 2.5 years' time, if you sign me up as a coach, it's never going to happen again. If you don't have me as a coach, maybe it'll take you 5 years. Maybe it'll take you 10 years. But if you apply the principles that I teach on this channel, you'll never have a job after those 10 years either. Even without signing me up as a client or as a coach, right? But why would you want to take 10 years when you can take 2.5? 7.5 years that you could have saved. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. Let's just quickly and briefly go through the chat, see if there's any good stuff here. Love your mindset. Glad I'm subscribed. Thank you so much. One question I have is, what is the plan to scale the movement? Plan for 5 to 10 years in the future. Can you go more in depth on that process and how you plan to convert the majority of the population? That's a pretty good question. I will definitely make a video about that. Let's see. Hey man, I've been following you for a while and this content is really great. You get straight to the point and you're assertive. This is what young people are craving. Hello, bro. Does this 80 hours job refer to the 9-5 job or something else? That definitely is included. I mean, what else are you going to do those 80 hours? Facts, dude. I love how you talk about how your imagination creates your reality. So thanks for that and showing how important foundation and work ethic is combined with that. Absolutely. Anyway, let me just grab this one and make a picture of it so that I can answer that question properly and fully. Thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are absolutely